What is the funniest thing you overheard from another player's mic while playing a game online? Story 1, I was playing, I think, Cody or something, and I hear this kid go, "Mom, did you see that? I sniped him?" And the mom goes, "That's great. Did you put lotion on your ashy elbows?" Story 2. One time after beating a kid at a match on Counter-Strike, he kept yelling 1v1 me noob and hurling other insults at me. The kid was definitely only 11, 12 years old. Anyways, I added him so we could 1v1, and while sitting in the pre-game lobby, I heard his mother come in and start yelling at him to go to bed. He refused to turn off the PC, then I heard his mother walk towards the PC and turn it off. He was immediately disconnected. I was laughing so hard the whole time. Story 3. A guy in my Overwatch party was taking bong rips all night, claiming it made him play better. We had pushed the payload almost to the end on our turn, but we were losing ground extremely fast. They pushed us to the second checkpoint on Gibraltar when the guy says, "Hold up," and goes completely AFK in spawn. From the mic, we hear the loudest, most drawn-out bong rip that I have ever heard in my life. Shit deadass lasted like 90 seconds. He came back and proceeded to frag out hard or ESO on May of all characters and basically held the enemy team in spawn the rest of the game. After that, we went on one of those night-long winning streaks and I finally hit Diamond. I never found Weed Seagull again, but I couldn't have done it without him. Story 4. I was playing a quick play game of Overwatch, and there was some kid getting yelled at by his mom that dinner was ready. It was a shouting match of her telling him to get off the game, and him telling her he'd only be a minute. Then, he full-on screamed at her and disconnected. This was followed by one guy on mic, who had been silent the entire game, bursting out laughing. Story 5. Charlie, don't you dare chew the fucking cable. Don't you dare. Stop. Spit the fucking cable out, Charles CJ. I think what I presume to be the cat didn't let go of the cable. Edit. The game was Overwatch. Story 6. Overheard a mom shout from a teammate's audio. Mom, we're going out to get breakfast. Kid, no, I'm in the middle of a game. Mom, we're going to McDonald's. Awesome Kid 69 left the game. Story 7. I was once playing NHL with a couple friends. Our randomly filled teammate was probably about a 14 or 15-year-old kid. We then hear an older woman's voice, presumably his mother, in the thickest Boston accent I've ever heard. "Wash your fucking hands, Teddy. 2 pumps of soap. Don't break the fucking container." Story 8. My husband goes around singing, "You have food, you have water. What the fuck is your problem?" Our goofy Maine, Coon Kitty, is a complete chowhound, but loves when my husband sings to him. So when my husband sings this, the kitty chimes in with him. Well, one night I'm doing a WoW raid and I was explaining a strat when my husband starts singing this in the kitchen. He was loud enough that everyone on the mic heard it and burst out laughing. Shortly after that, someone asked the mage to drop a table and a feast. So he responded by saying, "You have food and water. WTF is your problem?" Which lead to everyone bursting out in laughter again. Story 9. I was trash-talking this team on Black Ops 2 back in the day. I said, "You live in your mom's basement," and my mom walked into my room at that very moment and said, "You will too if you don't get those grades up." I was 14. Edit. This really had to be my highest upvoted comment. Story 10. On a TF2 server close to when Fallout 4 was gonna be released, some guy had a tabletop record player and some original records that had some of the songs from Fallout on them. And while he was playing Atom Bomb Baby for the millionth time, he knocked the record player off his desk, and everyone in the server heard it basically explode on the poor man's floor. He sounded like he was going to cry afterwards. Story 11. I was playing COD, and a player was helping his son with his homework. He was having a hard time explaining why multiplying by 0 equals 0, so I plugged in my mic and told the guy how to explain it simply. It was like Cyrano de Bergerac. I'd say a sentence to the guy in his headset and he'd parrot it to the kid. I also love when I hear people talk to what I assume are their pets on mic. Story 12. So not overheard, but I remember an incident about myself. When I was 12, I got to raid ZG in World of Warcraft for the first time with my guild. It was also the first time I used Ventrilo TS and didn't know about the push-to-talk mechanic, so my mic was on the whole time. My mom asked me from downstairs what I wanted on my sandwich, so I yelled back really loud, "Liver past with mayonnaise and cucumber," in Norwegian, and oh my god, I scared the out of my guildies. Some other Norwegian guy in the guild could not stop laughing for the whole raid. Story 13. Back in the days of Halo 2, guy I played with regularly was Asian. We were trash-talking, as 15-year-olds will, when I heard this sharp slapping sound, followed by the dude logging out. Turns out his mom heard our trash talk and used her flip-flop to wallop the back of his head. First time I heard it, followed by many more when we were up too late. Story 14. Not me, but I remember something on the lines of, "If you win 5-0 at FIFA, I will give you head." The opponent heard it and ran 3 goals in his own net. Thanks for the silver. Story 15. It was in a Call of Duty Ghosts infection lobby. There were multiple little kids trash-talking each other throughout the whole game. Then somebody called the Great Scott joined and infected one of the kids. Then they all ganged up on him saying that they hoped he choked on his haggis. Then he comes on the mic, and in the most stereotypical Scottish accent possible, casually says, "Feck off, lads, or I'll shove me haggis up ya, laddie." I was nearly crying throughout the next match. Story 16. Not mine, but my friend's story. She was playing PUBG with a bunch of random people, and one of the dude's mom goes, "Are you talking to a girl?" in the most dramatic voice, and then he disappeared. The other dude went like, "Oh man, let's pray for his soul." Story 17. I overheard these 2 guys on Siege talking about Red Dead, and this one guy said, "I named my horse after the Super 90 shotgun," and just yelled, "Yee-haw!" as hard as he could. Story 18. I used to play Halo 3 with a group of my social worker buddies. Whenever we would get an angsty kid yelling at the game, we would turn it into a counseling session. Teaching anger management techniques, finding out what was behind the rage, encouraging them to rethink life decisions. I'd like to think we helped a lot of people. Edit. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. Story 19. I'm too late, and this will get buried. But no game will drag you out of party chat and into game chat like Sea of Thieves. One night we had a few ships alliance up over a few hours, very chill and having a good time, until we get some dumb middle schooler in the chat. He keeps his chill for all of maybe 10 minutes before he drops, "Hey, how old do you guys think I am?" I said, "Young enough to ask that question," which got a lot of laughs. He then told us he was 14, used a racial slur, and told us he hated gay people over the course of the next few minutes. Nobody kicked or blocked him. Instead, we all talked about how glad we were that we didn't have online chat when we were his age, because everyone is a fucking idiot when they're 14, and we also would have said and done stupid thinking we were cool, but actually telling everyone that we are immature and close-minded and really just fucking dumb. We all shared anecdotes about stupid things we said or believed as teenagers. He got really quiet and then got very polite. We ended up playing with him for several hours. Then, at the end, somebody remarked that they didn't realize you can't change your character after creation, and they wish they had picked a different one, to which this girl shouts, "You're telling me I'm stuck playing as this fat-ass grandma?" And sure enough, her character was indeed a fat-ass grandma. Sea of Thieves. So many laughs with strangers. Story 20. American girl. Attempting to wrangle our raid into some semblance of order so we can get started. UK friend. "Oi, you're a proper, aren't you?" American girl. Goes fucking crazy. And that day he learned how offensive the word is to a lot of American women, LMAO. Story 21. I was the one saying it over a live mic. Husband and I were cooking meal prep lunches when I had to leave for my raid. I was talking something through before a fight when my husband came into the office with a fork full of food for me to try. I moved my head away a few times and he kept getting closer and closer with the fork until I finally said, "I don't want it in my mouth right now." Guild waited a half second before losing it. We had to take a 10-minute break. Story 22. I was playing Fortnite with a squad of fandoms. Playing with a kid who's been talking the entire game, no one is responding. A mom, I'm assuming, starts yelling at this kid in our squad on Fortnite. Mind you, he's probably 10, 12 years old. I hear in a stern voice, "Jason, turn off your Xbox right now." He whines, "We are almost done. Can I finish this game?" She says, "If you don't turn it off now, no Xbox for a week." Door slams. Jason goes, "Fudge it." He stays on and we come in 7th. Jason is a legend. Story 23. While playing WoW, a guildmate from Trinidad screamed that his neighbor's monkey was spinning on his ceiling fan, peeing everywhere. It was truly glorious. Story 24 was dealing with a real tough McBad boy on CSGO matchmaking. Rude, racist, griefing, etc. Just your typical gold Nova puppy. But all of a sudden we hear a baby crying in the background of his mic. Someone tells him to go take care of his fucking child. And the whole match becomes just us answering him with unsolicited fatherhood tips. Story 25. A guy's drunk wife talking loud enough in the background for us to hear her about how she made the out of some sourdough bread. Those were her exact words. She was all, "Yeah, I know your online friends can hear me. I bet they're jealous of this bomb sourdough. They can my." Story 26. Back in the Halo 2 days, there was the proximity mic feature, where you could hear an opposing player's mic if you were near them when they spoke. Team Slayer one night on Coagulation, I hijacked an enemy player's ghost. Remember how awesome it was doing that? As I kicked the dude out and stole his ghost, the kid shouted at me, "Go eat a cheeseburger, you fat Irishman." And then silence. As I turned around, I killed him. I was stunned, but hilariously amused at the same time. That was 2005, and I still giggle about his crackly voice screaming that random at me. Story 27. I was playing a game of Dead or Alive 4, and multiple people were in the lobby. This guy, in usual fashion, starts trash-talking one of the other guys, and all of a sudden both of them, somehow, get their girlfriends involved in this online argument on a headset. It was pretty hilarious listening to two women compare their man's penis sizes, which is completely irrelevant to the situation, lol. Story 28. I was in a game with two friends and one of them called me a cumlord for stealing a kill. There was a 3-second pause, and then the other one said, "'Tis I, the Lord of Cum," in a high-pitched voice, and we just lost it. Story 29. Doing a raid with a few randoms, I hear a dude talking to his kid say, "Yes, Daddy is playing game with friends." Then all I heard was PS4 beep and him saying, "Oh, fuck nada," cut off and leaving the game and party chat. Legit was so fucking funny. When he eventually joined back up, he explained his little kid loves turning off his PS4. Story 30. My friend heard some guys singing Coldplay while playing Call of Duty, so he recorded it and put the instrumental music in the background. It's actually quite beautiful. Here's story 31. Mai was doing a group game stream thing, I think. It makes sense looking at the story. In the middle of a game, there is a sudden high-pitched shriek, and a lot of, "Oh my god, izah." Turns out one of the team members forgot that he had set his screen to share and was happily looking at dragon dildos, and only noticed his whoopsie-daisy 15 minutes or so into his little shopping spree. Story 32. I was playing Minecraft years ago with 3 other friends when one of them said they would be right back. Turns out he was going to but kept his headset on and didn't mute the mic. We heard him the entire, and we were all dying laughing. Story 33. The last thing I heard that I can remember was this dude's dog barking incessantly and people telling him to shut it up. Someone asked what it wanted, and he said, "Attention." Then they said to go give it attention, and he said, "Pff, no." Like, why have a dog if you're just gonna let it bark while you game for hours and hours on end? Story 34. One day, while playing FIFA, Mexico versus USA. I got this kid super triggered to the point he turned on his mic to tell me all this kind of racist things for about 5 minutes. For the voice, I can tell this kid was at the range of 9-11 years old. Anyway, at one moment he was saying something like, "Fucking Mexicans. You all so ugly we Americans won't even rape you. Well, maybe moms. Yeah, we will rape your moms just to see you suffer." At that point, another voice arises at the sound of, "The fuck you are saying?" So I believe it was his dad, who got super upset by the language his little kid was using. Almost immediately, the match was canceled as he disconnected. Story 35. Little kid getting spanked by his mom over Xbox Live playing Halo 2. He apparently took a bath, got water all over the hardwood floor, left his dirty clothes on the floor, and was still not even dressed yet, and had gotten the wet towel draped on the chair. The mom was like, "At least you being naked saves me the time to take down your underwear." We were laughing so hard no one was even playing the match. Story 36. Some dude was watching the final of Season 3 GOT in the background, and was only just starting Season 2, so I had the whole Red Wedding spoiled for me while playing BF3. Story 37. A guy doing a very posh British accent rallying the team. I heard him say, "Hey you, come with me and the boys, you're not going to hit shit from back there," while still doing a voice, and it seemed so off it was great. Story 38. On an old EQ server, I unintentionally listened to an entire breakup over his rating habits and his inability to pay attention to her. Pretty cringy. Felt bad for the bro, but she seemed to have been solidly fed up. Ripe in peace. Story 39. Playing TF2 with a random group of people, and our team isn't doing great. Someone joins the server and immediately starts yelling and screaming, saying remarks that made me instantly believe he was in the military and from the South. What the are y'all doing? Get your thumbs out of her butts and get your together. He was playing as a medic, and there was another medic on the team. You saucy son, why the are you healing me? I'm a god medic. I'm about to spin you around by your little shoestring and toss you back to third grade. There were various other comments made, all of which sounded like R. Lee Ermey in Full Metal Jacket. I was dying. Story 40. Back when COD Modern Warfare 2 came out, I used to play with the same group of people all the time. One of the guys was a huge stoner that lived with his girlfriend. He used to tell us about how fat she was constantly. He was a chubby chaser. Well, one night we all got online and during a match he just started going ballistic on this girl. Apparently, he had made himself a fully loaded bagel before the match started, and during the match she managed to sneak it away from him without him knowing and ate it. I'm not condoning fat-shaming people, but that was the most hilarious rant I've ever heard. TLDR. Stoner friend of mine yelled at his bagel-stealing chubby girlfriend. Story 41. In my WoW guild, we have a married couple in our raid group. They are parents, and a lot of the other people in our guild are olderish guys, single guys, or younger ones. One night we are raiding and mid-pull we hear the mom yell into her mic accidentally. Hey, it's almost time for bed. You better have taken a shower and put your games away. In the most mom voice you've ever heard. A lot of people in our raid were ready to log off and go shower out of fear. Story 42. My friend was fucking freaking out on the mic. I thought he was getting mad at someone in the game, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense. He would be like, fuck off, no, don't fucking do that. Ah, you fucking cheeky, you absolute fucking. Don't. God damn it. And I asked him what the was going on, and he said, my cat drank my fucking milk. Story 43. A kid getting the beat out of it. On a MMO, we all hopped into a clan Skype channel. This dude was one of those that didn't use push to talk, which in of itself isn't bad, but was using a mic and speakers. Anyway, his parents didn't want him using a headset as he couldn't hear them if they called, and the background noise was always terrible. One day, his little sister was apparently doing something she wasn't supposed to, and the parents were screaming murder and throwing out the kind of obscenities that I, admittingly a sailor, would think twice about using at other adults. Then the beatings and her screaming like she was dying. It was terrible, and dude face just kept talking and playing through it as if it was normal. Noped out of there and never went back. Story 44. Mom! I wasn't masturbating. Then what were you doing? I was just watching porn. That's still not okay. And neither is having sex on the kitchen table, but you did it last night. Story 45. I was in a squad filled with 2 guys in Fortnite that both had mics. No idea who they were in person. There's a black guy with friends over, and he's yelling, and there's a Mexican guy who can't understand English. The black guy calls his friends the N-word, and then the Mexican guy, like a 4-year-old learning how to speak, repeats back in the best English he can, I know ease also, and you. And I know it isn't really too funny, but the idea of him not knowing what it means made me die. Story 46. We used to play with this 14-year-old kid. His mom came in and yelled at him, "Gee, yo, it is past your bedtime. Go to bed now." As we were all laughing, he said to his mom that his friends can't win without him. We were playing League of Legends. He was our ADC. And his mother came over and said, "This aren't your real friends. You don't even have friends at school." This hurt us all so bad that we were extra nice to him the next days. Story 47. Okay, finally I can share this with the world. When I was a teenager, my friends and I were playing Halo 3 on Xbox Live. One friend, we'll call him Jay, decided he needed to eat. He politely informed us that he was going to get sewn food. We say, all right, that's cool, and we hear him take off the headset but not mute it. We hear the headset hit the desk. Then we hear him yell, "Mom, put a sausage roll in the microwave." Then he puts the headset back on and declares he's back. We were all ourselves laughing. We all drifted apart as the years went on. But Jay is still one of my best friends, and I'll never let him live it down. If you're reading this, dude, you know who I am, and you're going to hear about it till the end of time. Also, hurry up and pick up your Christmas gift, dude. It's been in my cupboard for like 2 weeks now. Story 48. I was playing COD Black Ops or MW2 with my roommates. This kid's mom, in a southern accent, yells at him, "Get off the online, I need to use the phone." We were in tears. We still quote her from time to time all these years later. Story 49. I was playing some Phil squads in PUBG and someone on my team left his headset on open mic and was yelling at his mom that he didn't like pasta because she wanted him to get off to eat but he wanted to keep playing. Story 50. Was playing Worms Armageddon with a bunch of blokes from the UK. New guy joins our vent server and we got to hear his mom scold him on his grades and hear the smack of her hand on his as she beat him. Moral of the story is always mute your mic when it's going down. Story 51. One time when I was playing Overwatch late at night, a guy asked the team, "Hey, do you guys like cheesecake?" To which a couple of people replied, "Yeah, and yes." Then someone asked, "What type of flavor do you like?" To which the original guy replied, "Cheese-flavored, you fucking idiot." Competitive Overwatch might shatter my spirit and deteriorate my sanity, but it's little weird moments like that which make it all worth it. Story 52. Back when Modern Warfare 2 came out, I was playing multiplayer like mad. But every once in a while, a hacker would come on and do some wacky in our matches. One night, this one guy comes in named Potter here, and in the shittiest English accent said, "I'm Harry Potter. You shall all be granted the maximum prestige. Bibbidi bobbidi." Everyone got disconnected. I shut off my PS3 and turned it back on. Lo and behold, I had everything unlocked and was still at like level 50. Still have all that unlocked and still play every once in a while. Thanks, Harry. Story 53. I was in a group of about 10 folks, in an MMO, just running quests together. One of the group members logged off, but apparently forgot that his vent mic was hot. We all got to listen to him having with his girlfriend. The most interesting message was a group member who suddenly typed into chat, "Our FOB is under mortar fire. Gotta go." It was over a week before we heard from him again. Needless to say, for that week we were all worried he might have been killed. He was stationed in Iraq, if I remember correctly. This was about a decade ago. Story 54. I was in an old Xbox Live party mid-game when we heard something like echoed hissing, cutting in and out of someone's mic followed by, "Dude, are you peeing?" "What? You can hear me?" Story 55. My buddy was really good at Halo. Can't remember which one, but it had proximity chat. He put on Cotton Eye Joe in the background. Every time I could hear the song, I knew my death was soon to follow. Story 56. In CSGO, I was doing warm-up in DM, and this one Russian guy had a really shitty mic which made him sound just like a robot LMAO. So he starts raging and says in his robot voice, "Fucking G beach nigger." Then ensued a lengthy and heated monologue in Russian LOL. Story 57. We were playing World at War one time on Free-for-All. Dude was talking a lot of smack because he was whipping his girl comes in from work and realizes he's been gaming all day and yells at him, and basically emasculates him. Says she is tired of being the only one working, coming home and cleaning up after him. It was so bad the whole lobby stopped shooting to listen to it. After it was done, he left the room and it was quiet and a dude out of nowhere says, "Mother should have folded some towels or something." The whole lobby lost it. Story 58. Back when I played Final Fantasy Amshith, the first MMO, we did a raid event twice a week called Dynamis. It was complicated to pull off with 64 people, so a group of us would get on Ventrio to discuss planning, our next moves, etc. while we were doing the raid. We're just about to go in for that day's Dynamis when suddenly, we're hearing these really weird noises coming from one of the guys' mics. Everyone goes silent, then comes to the realization we're hearing him and his wife have a quickie. A lot of hooting and jeering and laughing. Then we politely server muted him and ignored him for a bit, while we got everyone else in. When he came back, it was great fun to torture him for a little while. Story 59. Once heard a kid's mother bust into the room he was in, assuming it was probably his, and start screaming at him, and what sounded like hitting him, because he was a lazy bum who didn't do anything around the house while she was at work all day. He was loudly crying and begging her to stop, literally screaming things like, "No, mommy, I can be a good boy. I promise, mommy, I will clean up." After she was done, we could hear him sobbing. Then say, "Oh, mic is on." Cue a bunch of noise and him coming back like, "So guys, I am good to go now," trying to pass it off like he just went to the bathroom or something. Story 60. I didn't overhear it, but the people I was playing with did. I was in a squad in Rainbow Six Siege with 4 other guys I had just met. There was a bug where your mic was always activated regardless of the setting. Anyway, I had watched a live streamer recently that day and I thought that way, he was talking to and babying his cat was funny. So, Me and my roommate are going back and forth saying Baba Booey in a high-pitched voice until one of my squad mates rudely interrupted with, "We can hear you." I wanted to just permamute my mic that day. LOL. Story 61. My favorite thing on Discord that happened is still. Loud music plays through someone's open mic. Oh, is that Zelda? It's Skyrim, you uncultured fook. Story 62. Not what I've heard someone else say, but what I said. My boyfriend was playing. I assumed as usual he just had his headset on so that I wouldn't have to endure the noise, but with the mic switched off. I walked up to speak to him and looked at the screen which said, "Search box," as he approached a box. So trying to be funny, I said, "Hey, you want to search my box?" Cue lots of cackling laughter from other players. Story 63. It may be me. I was connected to League of Legends, but had to move my semi-truck to a truck stop because the rest area I parked in was closing for maintenance. So I jumped into the driver's seat, laptop still on and connected via Wi-Fi hotspot, and the voice channel got to hear me yelling at traffic. Apparently my best was, "Put down the phone and drive. You Tourette's-riddled troll. Your parents must have been a telemarketer and a retarded aunt." Story 64 was playing with my friend Josh, workmate, on PUBG late at night. He's already 24, I think around that number. It was 1 a.m. in the morning, too early. Then her mother came like a wrecking ball, scolding my friend for staying up late playing games. It was hilarious, pure 5 minutes of fun, for me. I immediately put my mic on mute, cause I was laughing so hard. When his mother was done, we laughed together. He was embarrassed, but he's a good guy so he just laughed it off. But he went to sleep after the match. Story 65 was on Xbox Live, back when MW2 was new. Found a free-for-all match with some cool and chill people and we were having a great time, but one of them had to go. And a fucking obnoxious little brat replaced him. Every time this kid died, he'd scream and call people the F word. No, the other F word. The slur that can't be typed due to fucking stupid censors. And scream and swear. This kid could put sailors to shame. I finally got sick of his, so I switched to the class I used to people like him off. And I won the next match with a glorious RPG headshot square on the head. Holy fucking shit, he exploded. He was screaming so loudly at the top of his lungs that the fucking speaker in my XBL headset was crackling. He was threatening to murder me and other things. Finally, after about maybe 2 or 3 literal minutes of this, the kid goes dead. Fucking. Silent. And suddenly there's another voice in the background. It's the kid's dad. His voice slowly gets louder as he gets closer and he's scolding the kid like, "I taught you better than this. How dare you speak like that? You know you're not supposed to talk to other people like that." And the kid is there like, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." And then all of a sudden, "No, Dad, no, I'm sorry." The headset comes off and a loud thump is heard, the headset falling to the floor. Now the kid is screaming, "No, Dad, stop, no, ow, ow, you're hurting me." While you can hear the father yelling, "You were raised better than this. You know those words aren't to be said." All the while the kid is screaming, "No, ow, stop," and howling up a storm. Instigated a kid into getting beat by his dad. This went on for maybe 1 or 2 minutes before stopping, and the dad loudly proclaimed, "You're grounded until you're 20, while the kid is sobbing in the background, followed by the kid disconnecting. Funniest part about all this is that while this is going on, not a single person in the lobby, we all had mics and all were talking, did anything. We just sat there listening. Finally, after the kid disconnected, there was silence for another 30 seconds or so before a guy goes, "Dude, you got a kid beat." And we all laughed awkwardly. Story 66. One time I was playing Fortnite, as all young millennials do, or so I'm told, and this toxic kid was calling his mom and for telling him to do his chores, and I hear 2 slaps and him crying. When he came back, he called me A, so I screamed, "Don't say that about your mom." Let's just say 3 more slaps were heard that day. Not so funny. Story 67. Majority of the things I hear playing Holdfast. Nations at war, honestly. Historical games are safe spaces for white guys, lads. You do know what a good shot is, right? Cues that wasn't one of them. What are you doing over here? Some sort of cult sacrifice. Move out. Something of 30 players were all pointing their muskets at the flag bearer, and one of the commanders saw it and said that in the most downtown Brooklyn accent I've ever heard, and I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so much. Story 68. I played with some guys over Skype when someone's mom came into the room and asked, "Who the pissed all over and completely missed the toilet?" He denied it in the moment but confessed eventually after she left. Story 69. 12-year-old kid. Hey Beacons 56, do you like dragons? Me trying to be nice to a kid. Yay, I guess so, kid. That's good because I've been dragging my nuts across your face all game. Story 70 overheard a woman in the background who was talking to the person on the mic say, "I wouldn't want that in my duck." The randomness of that statement will forever be stuck in my head. I can't think of any context where that would fit into. Story 71. I was playing 2v2 on MW3. My brother and I were no-lifes at the time, so we were very, very good. We were absolutely destroying these two other guys. Every kill we'd hear them yelling in anger. When I threw a random knife across the map and hit one in the head, I heard a scream, a loud crash, and then a fuck shit fuck fuck shit fuck. I assume he destroyed his TV with the controller LOL. Story 72. My buddy Joe and I were playing Halo one night way back when. We are older and just loved to mess with the kids that played. So we had a game with this little kid who was talking, but little kid stuff. We realize it's only the three of us mic'd, so Joe sends me a text to talk quietly. I do. So we move the mics away from our faces and barely wipe her. Kid apparently turns up his TV because his mom comes in twice telling him to turn it down. The second time not as pleasant as the first. At the end of the game, Joe puts on a falsetto voice and yells into the mic, "Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit, I'll fuck you in the ass." I chuckle, but about 30 seconds the kid starts screaming, "No ma, it wasn't me, it was someone on the game. I sweet." Then he was gone. Just picture his mom running in and yanking the power cord. Story 73. Not exactly funny, but adorable as. One day I was playing Call of Duty Zombies and had public match to a group of ransoms. In the middle of the match, a small squeak came out of one guy's microphone. I figured it was just a broken mic, or just a shitty one, and ignored it. Then it happened again, louder this time, and again. Each time it grew louder. I finally asked what it was, if he needed a better mic. His kitten, named Skittles, was climbing up his body squealing and messing around with his microphone. I had to stop paying attention to ask 30 questions about the small rainbow kitten from across the country. Story 74. A group of dudes from work playing Battlefield 2 when one guy's wife starts to vacuum. He yells at her to stop and she does. She then proceeds to watch Golden Girls at high volume. He gets up and they start having a fight, which we can't hear all of, but at one point he yells, "Because I'm an idiot." And then they stop fighting and the whole squad hears, "Thank you for being a friend." And all of us start singing the Golden Girls theme song, in time with his TV. So when he gets back on the mic, he can hear 8 grown men singing. Story 75. I used to play Tekken online a lot, and I used to be pretty good. One night I was online and I was playing against someone who, by the voice, I judged to be a child. Being merciful, I didn't destroy him outright. I gave him chances to get a strike in and telegraphed my moves so he could feel like he was actually in the fight. In the background, I could hear a more adult voice giving encouragement to the child and denouncing me as A. After the first round, which I won, the adult took the controller over. He came at me strong and I welcomed the intensity as I played a character more attuned to punishment. I started kicking his since he was clearly at least not a child, maybe a teenager with a deep voice. And he started getting pissed. I won the second round, which meant if I won one more round, I win the match. However, I remember how much I looked up to my older brother when I was little and just started gaming. He was my savior, and I'd always call on him to get me through a boss fight or a rough spot. I didn't feel good about smashing this guy again and crushing the kid's possible adulation for this guy, so I hatched a plan. I gave the guy a good challenge, but I threw the round and the next one. I could hear his confidence building and the excitement in the other room. Imagine the comeback. Some of the names this guy was calling me LOL. You guys can imagine some of the, "Oh yeah, take that. No, going on from his end. Now we were tied 2-2 and this final round was for all the marbles. Again, I made it a challenge. I tried to drag every last second out of the round and let us both get down to nearly dead with a few seconds remaining. Then I remembered it was a ranked match, and I wasn't about to upset my stats, so I killed him. But I could hear the bonding over the intense moment, so despite losing, I think I gave them both a good fight to remember, and chance for the older to teach the younger about graciously losing a good fight.